have noticed about me, whether it be based off of my background or just an assumption off of videos I've made, is that I love collecting things. My bedroom is filled with dolls and figures and models galore. And there's one woman I owe it all to.
Cookieswirlc?
When I tell you this woman shaped my childhood, I truly do mean it. I would be a fundamentally different person without her videos. But first I want to address an elephant in the room besides my stunning outfit that might be heavy on your mind if I don't bring it up now. Isn't she a porn star? And the answer to that is very simple. No. It's just wrong. It got debunked. I think she was like mixed up with a different person. And even if she was, it's not our business anyway. So now that that's out of the way, let's go back where this all started. Her big thing in like the early to mid 2010s was toy unboxings on YouTube. Monster High dolls, My Little Pony, Shopkins. There was like Disney, Barbie, like any toy you could think of, she had that. This is the Unicorn Goddess Barbie doll. I got her in, I want to say, maybe 3rd grade, 2nd grade? I don't know. But I found out about her through Cookie's video, which is Sensibly did. And we'll get to that. Hold on. I remember downloading those Santa apps, and you can message the little Santa and be like, hey Santa, here's what I want for Christmas, and then you can like video, stuff like that. I messaged him, and I said, I want this Barbie doll, and then I got it. And she's wonderful. And I've somehow managed to keep her in really good condition all these years, which is something I'm incredibly proud of. Because I don't really collect Barbies. I collect Monster High dolls. But yeah, the fact that I've managed to keep her in this good of a condition is crazy to me. I never noticed that until I was like holding her here. Wow, look at our gal! Now, on the topic of dolls, she also unboxed Monster High dolls. Those Monster High doll videos, triple platinum in my house. That one of Kieran Valentine and Wisp, I know every word to that video by heart. And when I rewatch these videos, there's explanations like, oh yeah, and he was Dracula's old boyfriend, and now he's gay. Like, girl, I know that stuff. I watch Peak Cinema. Do not cite the agent text to me. I was there when they were written. She also, of course, did a lot of Shopkins stuff. I gave away my Shopkins collection. It is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. It is my #1 regret ever. She unboxed a lot of Shopkins. Of course, me and my sister watched them. She's like, oh my god, I want Shopkins. We went out, we got Shopkins, stuff like that. I was a very easily influenced child, and she was my influencer. But you know what? There could have been worse ones. It's okay. The only Shopkins merch I have right now that I know of, I might have something else buried, is this Strawberry Kiss plush. I found her actually right behind where you're sitting a few weeks ago, and she lives in my bed now, and I love her very much. These videos amassed Cookie a huge following. Okay, so what I ended up saying in the original clip was just a straight nothing burger, so I'm doing it this way. What I was trying to say is that these videos ended up raking in like tens of hundreds of millions of views. Like, there's one video with like 100 million views on it. Like, it was genuinely crazy. It was that like influential to the point where there are still people going back and watching these videos a million times again. Like, that is how big of a deal they were. What a lot of people don't know is that she did gaming stuff then too. She played Minecraft, she did Roblox. I remember there being a whole like Roblox obby server thing, but she did gaming stuff then too, and I want you to keep this in the back of your mind because this is going to become very important later. And she also did a lot of My Little Pony stuff, which leads us to our next segment. The f do you know about Sunday with sugar? I wish I could say this in a cooler attire. Here, I'll put one up on screen. Pretend I'm wearing this right now and talking to you. Like, I can like edit my head up there. Is it up there? I work at an equine therapy program. I am the barn ambassador of socialization, which basically means I'm a horse therapist. I see the horses and they go, owie, my foot hurts and my brain hurts. And I go, oh no, and then I help them and then they feel better. That is my job. That is what I do. My entire life growing up, I loved horses so much. I was coming home, I was watching my sister play Minecraft, I was eating Publix hot food and watching Game Master videos. That's what I was doing. I couldn't afford a horse. But what I could afford was pretty much anything about them that I could. When I found out she had an alter ego, this alter ego, Honey Heart C, is the channel she had for all of her horses. I didn't know she had horses. This is so important to me. I didn't know she had horses, and then out of curiosity one day, when I was like 7, I googled like Cookieswirlc horse, And then she kept popping up. I was like, who is this lady pretending to be my queen? Because I couldn't grasp the concept of 2 separate channels belonging to one person. But yeah, she had horses. I wanted to add more to this. When I say she had, I mean, I don't know if they died or if they moved to a different barn, but it doesn't look like she still has them. I'm guessing maybe they just had to move, you know, homes and they're off living their life somewhere else, or maybe they passed away. Either way, I'm glad, you know, I was able to grow up with them because they were lovely. On that channel, she did Breyer model unboxings, and at the time, Breyers were crazy expensive, and they still are. But somehow then, because I was much smaller and I didn't have any money, they seemed even more expensive. So I remember my first one I got my first ever one at the mall because I had watched her Breyer videos, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know those existed. Like, I love horses and I love things in my room. I can get a horse in my room. This is crazy. And CookiesWirlc likes them. Best of both worlds. This is just show and tell now. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. This was my first ever Breyer model. Definitely an older model. Not quite as like the material is, I don't have the tappy nails. The material isn't the same, but she is loved by me and in my heart. Now, I couldn't really afford or basically do any like regular horseback riding stuff. Those videos essentially fueled my hyperfixation at the time, special interest now. Like that, they were what got me through not having horses, because I'm like, ooh, this lady I like has horses. Yay, I can look at those ones. However, if you go back and you try to rewatch those videos, and the CookiesWirlc ones, they're gone! That's right. They're gone! At least like 200 of them got wiped. So imagine my shock early last year when I'm feeling a little sad. I go, I'm gonna rewatch some old childhood videos. And I type in CookiesWirlc Calliope Jellington unboxing, and it doesn't exist! However, there are brave, brave soldiers out there, and they have taken to re-uploading all of these videos on TikTok, on YouTube. Most of these videos have been downloaded and shared. But this really made me wonder, because this was clear that through both, you know, context clues on her end and through the comments of these re-uploads, this wasn't a her thing, this was a YouTube thing. Like, YouTube's wiped so many of these videos, and she's been fighting to restore them, and I pieced together a timeline. When I was looking up clips on TikTok to use for this, I noticed a lot of like those clips are like, here, take a break, watch this channel while I do this thing. They were uploaded, or started being uploaded in like 2022. And then they switched from, here, watch this video, to, hey, watch this re-upload that I saved and is now salvaged in early 2024. And throughout 2024, from like early spring to I think October, there are a lot of videos of people being really surprised that these videos are gone. I'm 90% sure this big just swipe of all of her content happened in, I want to say, March to April 2024. So that would be 2 years ago. And since then, they're gone. There's a few channels on YouTube who have been restoring videos. I know that she herself has been re-uploading all old videos while still pumping out new videos for newer demographics. It's a whole thing. I think it's a very interesting representation of how a community of people who never even met each other but all watched the same YouTuber, and they haven't watched that YouTuber in years, but they heard, hey, her content got taken down. They wrote at dawn. Good for them, good for them. And yes, one of these videos that had gotten taken down, and unfortunately not re-uploaded since, was her face reveal. And I remember a lot of people being kind of like, oh, she's not a magical fairy princess unicorn queen? Like, they were disappointed. Which, I don't want to say is understandable, but like, kids will be kids, you know what I mean? I was so hyped because, and this is so specific, she looks like my mom. And I was like, this is amazing. CookiesWirlc looks like my mom. This is the best thing to ever happen to me, ever. And while everybody else was mad, I was ecstatic because I'm like, oh my god, CookiesWirlc looks like my mom. My mom looks like CookiesWirlc. My mom is CookiesWirlc. I was very excited. I was very excited. So while y'all were complaining, I was jumping for joy and showing my mom. I said, look, it's you. But now it's time to lock in and like try to make an actual point, because most of this has just been me bragging about my childhood. I can't remember when exactly, but slowly, her channel began to shift from toy unboxings to gaming content. And I believe it was also 2024, I could be wrong, where she unveiled a VTuber. And I think that VTubers get a lot of bad rep in the way that furries get a lot of bad rep, where there might be like one or two bad ones and then that just tarnishes the reputation for everybody else, even though that doesn't have to be that way. And I think that using a VTuber model for children's content is very ambitious, but I think it's very smart because it's just another form of creativity and connection without it being like weird, you know what I mean? She basically started making Roblox content. She played the new FNAF games when they came out. She basically became a kids gaming channel. And I understand why people my age would be upset now, because like there's so many kids gaming channels these days. And yes, there's still toy unboxing ones, but there's not really, it's not their whole thing like it was. I do understand why, but I also need to remind you, I don't think the content is for you. Because if they did even a little bit of digging, they would know she's still uploading toy stuff. She's still unboxing Monster High dolls. I think she did the Megan one like 2 weeks ago. It's very strange because I'll see people my age, maybe older than me, maybe even a bit younger than me, being like, oh, I miss the old Cookie. She did toy unboxings and not just video games targeted to any new demographic. When in reality, if you looked a little closer, you would see that they're still there. You're just not looking for them. So you want these to happen, but when you do get them, you don't seem to care very much. And I've watched a couple of her new unboxing videos just by myself, and honestly, in my opinion, not much is different. Like, obviously time has passed and there will be showings of that, but it's not like abhorrently different than from what I grew up with. I think that brings up a very interesting topic of discussion, that being nostalgia bias. I touched on this a good amount in my Monster High video from last summer. I think the fact that, especially a YouTuber who has been making content for so long and stuck to like 2 or 3 of the same formulas for so long is still making content, it's insanely impressive. Not to mention, she is actively acknowledging and communicating with people like myself who are going back to these old videos. She is still re-uploading them. She's still making like 1 hour of these old unboxings to fall asleep to. Like, they're still out there. They're still happening. You're just not looking for them and you're making assumptions. I mentioned that she did still make gaming content back in like the early 2010s. That hasn't really changed much. A lot of people say there was a switch from toys to gaming, but in reality, it's always been a mix of both, and it still is. The ratios have just been swapped a bit, but that's okay, because as much as I love going back and rewatching these old videos, I'm not the target demographic for most of them. Nostalgia bias and blindness is a very touchy subject. This is another point I wanted to expand upon because apparently I suck at recording. I do think it boils down just to people missing how they felt when those videos were being released, when they were first watching them. I don't think they really entirely care about the videos themselves, rather the feeling they got when they were watching them when they were that young. Over the time I've spent thinking about it, I realized that it's almost that your time as a child was never quite as good as you made it out to be in your head. There was always something at least a little bit wrong, and that's okay, because nothing can be perfect, which is why we have these videos to escape into. So why are you upset that kids now are getting that same exact opportunity? I wanted to end this video, I wanted to end it by unboxing a Monster High doll for you, except I don't really have any money. I don't have one just lying around to unbox. So I figured I could give you a tour of my collection of things that she's gotten me into. You saw it, oh dear. You saw it vaguely kind of in the intro, but here's some more stuff. Here's a closer look at all of my Briars, most of my Briars. That's Secretariat right there. Ooh! There's Queen Elizabeth's horse. I don't remember which queen. We got some Monster High dolls, 2 Ghoulias. That's the Pre-Production Torlai, Pre-Production Laguna, Original Claudia, Scaris Rochelle? I'm not sure. And this is the G3 Cupid doll. Then up here we have my favorite girlies, or at least my favorite dolls I have. 13 Wishes Twyla, Reproduction Ghoulia, and I think it's I Love Fashion Widona. This is a bad angle, I'm sorry. There you go. Now you can see them better. Most of these are secondhand, and then I have a lot of G3s sprinkled in, kind of in this layer. Here's more of my Briars. That's where my first one sat. Ooh. That guy back there is rearing, you can't really tell. I mean it when I say she has truly shaped so much of just like the media I consume or enjoy or the things I collect. Like, I don't think my love of horses would be the same without her, and that is my job. Like, that's what I do. Like, I'm majoring in equine sciences, and I don't really think it would have gone the same way if I didn't have those videos to kind of, like, to hold me over until I was able to find a good barn and start riding. As well as all my dolls and everything. I love them so much. This is gonna sound so, it's getting sappy, it's getting corny, but I really am just so happy to be able to be collecting and keeping these things that I love close to me in the way I wanted to when I was much younger. The fact that I'm able to get on here and yap about Monster High for the second time, or show you all my little model horses, I think it's really nice. I think it's a nice full circle moment. I think that's what this video is. I didn't really go in with a plan. I planned some little editing things, but that's about it. I just wanted to sit down and yap, and that's what I did, and I hope it turns out good. If it doesn't, oh well, but whatever. I'll see you next time.